So, what are some of the biggest challenges you see nonprofits facing or experiencing when it comes to measuring and communicating their impact today?
Definitely. Yeah. So I know that lots of people on the call may be exploring Sure Impact, maybe already using Sure Impact. I know that we have people from lots of different places geographically, but obviously different phases of the impact measurement process. So I'll speak to a few of the challenges that we see through social impact solutions with our clients. And first and foremost, is that too many organizations don't have adequate or any impact data to begin with. And so, if there is no data being captured, then obviously there's nothing to report, there's nothing to communicate. And so that's what we see most often. That's obviously not always the case. But Sherry, a few meetings ago when you and I talked, I think you said that only about, 25% of organizations are actually actively capturing data. So that's still the biggest issue that we see. Obviously, we're biased just given the clientele that we work with. We help organizations measure and market their impact. And so we're seeing more of that than maybe others are, but it's definitely the biggest barrier and the biggest challenge is not having data to begin with. We know that this is because of a variety of challenges, particularly for nonprofit organizations, whether they don't have adequate personnel, like and not enough employees, maybe they don't have robust enough technology systems in place. This is obviously oftentimes due to budget. But the great news is that there are more and more tools being offered, Sure Impact being one of those, and at a much more affordable price. So technology is improving, expanding, and ultimately reducing the cost for nonprofits and for-profits alike. But there are more and more options available to reduce this burden and make impact measurement more feasible for nonprofits of all shapes and sizes. Second, I would say to answer your question, Sherry, the second biggest challenge that we see is that organizations that do have data often struggle to turn that into, practical, implementable tools, particularly when it comes to communication. So whether that's marketing or fundraising, communicating your impact metrics and turning that data into actionable and tangible collateral is a real challenge for a lot of organizations that have started capturing data. Sometimes this is due to the fact that many organizations are just kind of capturing anything and everything that they can, and they end up with so much data that they don't know what to use or how to use it or how to analyze it. We see some organizations that, they're not sure if their data is reliable, or they don't know, how do we use this in a way that's going to connect with donors or volunteers or other stakeholders. So those would be the pieces that we see most often is as challenges, is that data not being captured at all, or if it is, it's really challenging to communicate that in a way that resonates with all of your stakeholders. This conversation today and often will revolve a lot around funding and donors, but we know that all stakeholders, employees, constituents, beneficiaries, corporate partners, volunteers, they're all very important and they all really care about the impact being made through your organization's mission.